again to our program, and happy summer. It's time once again to talk with the folks from the Apple organization, Addison Partners for Play, Learning, and Education. Joining us once again, as she has now for the last couple of months, is Maureen Reedy, who is the project director with Apple. Hi, Maureen. Thanks for coming in again today. And it's a busy time, of course, busy time of year. Would you like to introduce the lady who you've brought with you today?
Yes, this is April Osuji. She is the site supervisor for Addison Addison Children's Center.
Right. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And an Addison resident, I understand, too.
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Great. Well,
Yes.
It's nice to meet you. So, April, let's talk about the Addison Children's Center. Last time on our program with Maureen, we learned about the Addison Early Learning Center through Addison School District 4.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about your agency here in Addison, the Addison Children's Center, and what great work you do in the community?
Yes, sir. So it has been a blessing. I've been here for about 10 months serving as our site supervisor at Addison Children's Center. And what I love about it is that this program is really a program that really geared towards our children. We partner with our families to make sure that they are continue to grow and develop our children. Our program serves children in the Addison community, ages 0 to 3 years old. And what's great about the program is that we have educators that are always making sure that our children are learning and doing what they need to do. And so I'm just excited to just be a part of this journey on being with our Head Start program.
Yeah, great. I can see the enthusiasm. And 0 to 3. Now, last time when we talked with Dr. Aaron Alexander, it's the 3 to 5 range that they work with. So 0 to 3
Yes,
must come with a lot of challenges then, right? Do you have the students for a particular time during the day? Is that how that works at your center?
Yes, sir. So we service children that's 6 weeks to 3 years old. And so I just wanted to give that. I'm going to say 0.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What in the world? So 6 weeks to 3 years old, and from 7:45 to 2. And so one of the things, being in childcare for the last 21 years, I've noticed that they're little sponges. So, we're impacting the children day by day by the different things that we're teaching them to help them to grow social skills, or curiosity, different things like that. And so we create a curriculum that is touching base on where they need to be at developmentally, and then we're able to continue to help them, especially when they transition to our 3 to 5 program.
Now, is this what we have known in the past as Head Start? Or I guess now it's Early Head Start.
Early Head Start, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it's Early Head Start, and happy birthday, Head Start. Today is our special fun day, and so we're excited about that because Head Start has been making a difference in communities. And so that's one thing that I can say that I pride myself as a leader, is to make sure that our families and our students are getting everything that they need, just the whole child in general. So.
Well, Head Start's been around for a long time, hasn't it? Was that really one of the first models that was used in early childhood education, was using the idea of the Head Start, getting the kids in at really young age in some of those social emotional skills that you talked about?
Yes, sir. I mean,
you don't have to call me sir, by the way.
Oh,
Don,
but hey,
Don is just fine.
it's okay.
Don't age me any more than I am. But thank you. You're very kind. But Don will be just fine.
Mr. Don, I'll tell you this much. I'm very respectful. And that's one of the things that I love about, because you start off at a young age. And, that's something that, we take pride in doing. Not only are we training our children and getting them prepared, obviously to live life, but also their parents. And so, as you said, the model started with Early Head Start, partnered with families. So we don't see ourselves as a traditional child care center or different things that's tuition-based, but it's more of a partnership where we not only guide our parents, but we also are, helping our children to grow and to continue to move from not just Early Head Start, but to Head Start, and then Head Start to our preschool, kindergarten, and so on.
Give us a snapshot of the kids when they first come into your center for the Children's Center and the Early Head Start program. What are we talking about here? Has there been a developmental screening already at that point, or do you do that in the process of the time that you have the students with you at the Children's Center?
Yes, so we have family support workers who work with our families, and basically they do a screening with them, seeing where their child is at. Our teachers also is a part of that process. We do home visits, so we do initial home visits, go into the homes, getting to know the families, different things that we need to help with that child. And what's great about it is not this the first home visit, but we do continuous home visits. So there's just not the one time, but even in the mid-year and then at the end of the school year, we're constantly doing home visits with our families. Not only that, but we also use a curriculum guide called Teaching Strategies Gold, where we're able to observe each child on a daily basis and be able to share the parents, okay, well, you know, Johnny may be at this level and this is what we're doing to continue to help them to grow. And so our program not only focuses on education, but also nutritional value, where we provide the students fruits and vegetables and things for them so they continue to grow. And then we also continue to build our families with having a monthly meeting, so they're able to know these are some tactics that you can do with your children.
Are you watching for milestones at certain points along the way, at maybe an age mark, 1 year, year and a half, 2, and so on? And do you communicate that then with the families when you do these home visits? You kind of have milestones that you're looking for?
Yes, we do. We always communicate about the milestones. Even when they enter into our center, we have an informational table. So there's a lot of plethora of information for them to take and to grab and say, oh, okay, this is where my child should be at. And so that's why I like our program and why we're set up this way, because we want everyone to be successful. You know, no one gets a real Bible, quote unquote, of what it is to be a parent.
There is no such thing. That's why in child care and development and everything to do with it, there is no Bible. You're right. And we like to think there was. They never hand that to you.
Right.
We missed that, didn't we?
Yes.
Very, very good. Yeah. What is the monthly meeting? What's involved in that? Are people coming to the center then? Is it parents coming?
Yes, so parents are coming to our meeting. Our meetings are designated every third Tuesday of the month, from 1 to like 1:45. Sometimes we can go to 2 o'clock, but it's just pertinent information about the program. We will also have a focus topic. So, you know, mental health, dealing with stress, creating routines with your children. And so we're able to, you know, have this particular time for other parents to gather together.
So this is a group then? You're meeting all together in the community then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right. Is language a barrier with any of the programming that you do? Do you have multilingual staff and so on, so communication with the families is makes it a little easier for them, a little better facilitated then?
Yes, very much so. So one of the great things about our Early Head Start program is that we have at least 3 educators in the classroom. So mostly of our programs, which we have 4 classrooms, all have at least 2 friends who speak Spanish, because most of the families in our program are Hispanic and they speak Spanish is their first language, primary language. And so that's what's the great part about it, is that we do have educators who are also, you know, speaking to our families in their native language and different things like that. And even in the meetings, we make sure that we do have dual language speakers to continue to give the information that our families.
I mean, that would be critical, I would imagine. You got to get the information across, and you need to be able to communicate with them. And it sounds like these topics are a wide variety of things. You talked about, you know, dealing with stress issues and nutritional issues, all these other things that everybody can benefit from. That maybe the parents, they know about it, but are they really being diligent and looking into it and talking about it? Is there ever communication parent to parent? In other words, within you have your audience, you do your presentation, do you ever see any building of relationships just parent to parent, for example, in the community meetings?
Yes, so much. We have some families who even carpool. You know, we've had some families where someone, you know, car broke down and we put it a message because we use an app called Learning Genie. And so Learning Genie is a communication app in which we're able to not only communicate with parents, but parents are able to see the child's day. So they're seeing pictures and seeing, you know, what they ate, you know, their diapering times and all their different things. And so, you know, if a parent's like, oh, you know, I'm not able to get to school, is there someone who lives nearby, you know, and let our FSWs, which are family support workers, know, and then we're able to put that out. And so families are able to communicate. And so that's a great tool to be able to use and for our families to work together. You know, it really takes a village to raise a family, to raise children. And so I know that that's kind of an old cliche that people say, but it really is a village. And so it's important that we've created that culture where people are are able to go to each other and say, hey, won't you join me? Or, maybe someone's struggling, or maybe they have some knowledge that can bring to someone else. So.
Now, you operate 2 facilities in Addison, is that correct? You have the main facility, or one of your headquarters is on Fullerton Avenue, right?
Yes,
How does that all work?
Yes, so I'm over our Addison Children's Center, so our early Head Start from 0 to 3. So that's the one that I manage, and obviously Miss Maureen manages the.
Well, and there's also the Army Trail, which is
Right.
the 3 to 5 Head Start program, and Dana Imla is the site supervisor for that location for the 3 to 5 year olds.
So Maureen, why don't we talk now about how this fits in with Apple's mission. As I said, we talked with Dr. Alexander in our last program about the Addison Early Learning Center. Now we're into the Head Start and even the younger children coming into the Learning Center, which then they move on into kindergarten, for example. So at this age range, the 6 weeks to 3 years, what would Apple be hearing from the community in terms of people needing support services and connectivity to any of your collaborative partners that you work with when we're talking about children in the really youngest range of where they're getting their first taste of what an education and school will look like going into the future? What are some things you're hearing from them?
There really is a great need, and that is really the origin of how this center was first developed. This was a partnership between the Addison School District and Metropolitan Family Services, which is actually a pretty unique partnership. There are not many communities in the area or in the country that have combined a private organization with a school district to then bring a center like this to the community.
Well, what is the benefit of that? You have the school district, but then like you say, you're partnering with an agency that specializes in early childhood and family advocacy. So where does the benefit come in something like that?
Well, I think that the school district realized that the benefits of providing families with a place to take their children, to help their children grow, to help them as parents learn. The school district realized how important that is to really get kids off to a great start. As we know, and we've talked about many times probably on this show, 80% of brain growth happens before the age of 3. So while we had a lot of preschool programs and have had throughout the country a lot of preschool programs from 3 to 5, it's so important for those first 0 to 3 years as well, because so much of that growth is happening in those years.
Well, you used a term a while back called a preschool desert, that for a long time Addison had that issue to deal with, that challenge of being a preschool desert. So it sounds like what we are talking about today is from 6 weeks old until all the way through elementary school, we got you covered, right? We have curriculum, education, schools, early childhood. When there are developmental issues, we got places to go for that.
Absolutely.
That's a huge get for this community to have, wouldn't you say?
Oh yes, Addison, as we've said, is so fortunate to have the Addison Children's Center, the Addison Early Learning Center, the Army Trail Head Start program, because there are a lot of communities that don't have all of those various programs to support families and children.
And I would imagine from your position with Apple, you're bringing in collaborative partners. If you were to hear from parents early on and they didn't know about this, that would be a direct referral then over to the Addison Children's Center.
Yes, and actually we're newly rolling out what we're calling new parent toolkits. It's funny, you both were talking about sort of like the Bible of parenting, which
you wrote it.
It doesn't exist, and I didn't write it, but we are trying to sort of move towards that. I mean,
of getting something in hand.
Something like that. So I felt the same way, right? As a new parent, I'm a child development specialist, but even as a child development specialist, you may not know all of the things that your community offers to you as a parent.
Oh, right.
And so our goal, we're creating new parent toolkits, which are going to be bags that will have a book, they'll have a toy, but they'll also have all of the resources that parents might need to support their children's young development. So information about the preschool programs that are in in the community, information about early intervention and home visiting programs and all the things that parents might need to support their kids. And we're going to distribute these bags through pediatricians, through home visitors, and through preschool programs, so that parents have that sort of toolkit, that sort of, a way of sort of, getting that information from the start. So they're walking out of that pediatrician's office or the first day at their child care center, and they have that information.
That must be a very valuable, tangible gift for them to have.
Yes, we hope it will be.
So April, we talked about the kids. Let's talk about the parents now. Okay, let's pick on them for a little bit. Describe, if you would, the difference that you see with the parents that you work with their young children from when they first come into your center. Maybe a little apprehensive, a little certainly very concerned about certain things, obviously, in their child's life, versus when you see them maybe when they graduate off into the Addison Early Learning Center, for example, at 3 years old. Can you characterize kind of a snapshot of what you see within your families when it comes to that?
Yes, great question. I would say thankful. When they enter our program, of course, they're nervous. You hear a lot of group care and the adequacies with group care. Let's talk about that, right? Coming out of COVID, even though it's been some time, but still having in the back of your head, like, I don't want my child to get sick all the time, and I don't want, this to happen to my child, and what if this person's not X, Y, and Z? And so one of the things I've seen just from the beginning when we started our school year, and a lot of children were crying and, getting used to the schedule, and to where we're at now, they're grateful because the child doesn't want to leave the program. They want to continue to stay because we've created such an environment for the children to make this a second home, that this is home for you. You're learning. Learning is fun. And if you start at this age, for them to understand that learning is so fun and exciting, once they continue to grow to the Head Start program and elementary and high school, they'll remember even those small little connections of that teacher took the time to be with them, or, how they had an aha moment because the cocoon now is, metamorphosed into a butterfly. Those different aha moments that I love about this age. And so one word is thankful. They're thankful that, we have a particular program that's able to give their child, like I said, great nutrition, give their child, the skills that they need to continue to grow. And even for themselves as a parent, as Maureen said, having that parent toolkit and having, meetings and having intentional Zooms to just bring awareness to the things that they may experience, that they're not alone, and so I think that they just walk out just thankful.
And speaking of the parents now, what would you say would be a couple of the common concerns, themes, questions that you hear from parents when they're bringing their children into the center for the first time, or even if they've been there for a while? What would you say a couple of things that you hear quite often? Because usually when one person has that question, there's a lot of people who have a question like that. So it's common, and it's probably your job to set them at ease a little bit.
Yes.
So what would you say would be a couple of those typical questions did you hear from parents?
Yes, health and safety. As I said, coming out of the mindset of COVID, right, where everyone was sick and what that looked like. Making sure that we're sanitizing the toys, making sure that, we have a good secure system, so parents or random people coming into the building, so in order for them to enter our building, you have to get buzzed in, so that means that we're looking and knowing who's coming in and out. So safety is a big piece to it, making sure that the parents understand that we're washing children's hands when they walk into the classroom. We're, taking temperatures if we need to make sure that the children are, well and able to function in the day, routines and stuff. So health and safety is probably one of the biggest questions that families have. And I can reassure you that when you enter in, you're going to enter into an environment that is not only clean and safe and healthy, but also educators that really want to be there. And I think that that's part part of our team is having people who really want to do this. You know, I've been in this, like I said, for 21 years, and it's intentional with the people that I bring into the team to work with children. These are people's pride and joy. So we don't want to mishandle their gym because you don't want to do this.
21 years. Okay, let's talk a bit about that. So where were you prior to coming to, you said you've been in Addison for 10 months now working at the center here. Where were you prior to
I worked in Wheeling and Western Springs as well as LaGrange, so for a number of years at a corporate child care center. So I made a decision to do something a little different and explore options, and I love it.
Do you see a difference between that corporate environment, we won't pick on them, but you know what I'm saying, you're going to be careful here, versus where you're at today in more of a local school district, community-based, working with Metropolitan? Is there a big difference in something
it's
like that?
Big differences. Big differences. Like I said, the word that I said, thankful. You know, it's more like thank you. Thank you for taking the time to deal with my child, especially if a mom is new to the new things that's developmentally, you know, with a child, you know, special needs, or, you know, it's becoming a little bit more and more a household name in families with autism and speech delays and all those different things. And the fact that we set our programs to able to help and to give assistance and to be able to put them in a program, in an EI program that's able to help them, that's really important. And I see the difference because, you know, you could come from a different mindset where it'll pass over, right? You know, they'll get over it. But when you're intentional about making sure that you're given the right tools, then you can work together, and it continues to build.
And I'm sure with your staff, you need to set the parents at ease. You know what? This is your child. This is exactly who they are. No matter what, there might be a developmental issue within, but you have the ability, you have the tools, you have the protocols and so on that you're going to work with them, as you talked about today, getting them with all the curricula that you have to offer, to the point where they're going to thrive and just become beautiful young people as they move on in school. So you really need to kind of help those parents understand that, right? That you're here for them and you know what they're going through if there is a developmental issue.
Very good. And just encourage them and tell them you're not alone. You know, sometimes, you know, people be on parent journeys like, well, am I the only one experiencing that? And that's why we, you know, have platforms, and you have, you know, parent groups, and you have those different things. And I love that our program have like partnerships like Apple to be able to help us so we can come together and, you know, help parents, you know, maybe for their first time in this country, or even more so first time even in this area, and what resources we have. You know, we destroy from lack of knowledge, right? So having that knowledge and having those resources at peace for, you know, will help that parent.
Now, do you go through a normal intake process then when you're first bringing the kids in, set up meetings, you do the home visits, you do those initial screenings? Is that all part of the intake that happens? Does that happen throughout the year, or do you only do that at certain times?
Throughout the year. So we do mid-home visits as well. So you know, always checking in, just say, hey, making sure everything's great. And another piece is our family support workers are another piece to the puzzle, because they're setting goals with the families. They're setting the goals. Okay, this is the goal that you guys have set. Let's work on that. How are you doing with that goal? So, you know, even though we may be the educational part, but we have other people that's on our team that's able to support this whole parenting process. And so that's why I'm very grateful to have the family support workers, our educators, Apple, you know, our early learning managers that's able to continue to, like I said, build this village.
So there's somebody watching this right now thinking, boy, I didn't know this existed. I did not know this was here in Addison. Young family, they have a newborn, so on. What would you tell them?
Enroll today.
Do your commercial, April. What would you let them know about?
Enroll today. You will not, at the end of the day, think twice, because you're going to be in an environment where someone loves your child, is going to build your child up. We're going to give you the tools that you need to be super mom, super dad, super grandma, because we want to make sure that we're here to build you up. And so it's important that we let families know that we're a great center. Enroll today, have your child come through and see what makes us so wonderful.
April, thank you very much for spending time talking with us today. The enthusiasm enthusiasm is just bubbling over here.
Exactly.
Maureen, I don't know if you knew this was going to happen
Oh,
today.
I absolutely did.
But you've got a cheerleader for what you do with the Apple
Yes,
organization.
April has been so incredible to work with over the past several years, or several months, I should say. She is so enthusiastic, so committed, and so creative with the things that she does with parents and children. She's really taken those parent meetings and expanded and grown them to be very engaging for families. And that's such an important part of Early Head Start, is not just taking those children in and giving them a place to be in an education, but also looping those parents in and really supporting them. And she's been an incredible in that.
That's a lot of energy there.
Yes, for sure.
Maureen, as I said, we are at the tail end of the school year, kickoff of summer right now. So let's talk about a couple of things that are coming up on your radar. And one is kindergarten camp. You want to mention when that is going to be held and how people can get involved with that?
Yes, so that is held the last week in July. Well, it's the 29th of July to the 2nd of August, that last week that shifts into August. Okay. It will be occurring at several different elementary school locations. They initially used to do it just at the Addison Early Learning Center, but they determined that it was better to get children exposed to the elementary school that they were going to be in. So now they've distributed it to the different elementary schools. It is not at every elementary school, but it is at several of them.
Is there a registration process required for that?
There is, yes. And so they can go on the Addison School District website to register for kindergarten camp.
That's asd4.org. And now developmental screening, we just mentioned with April that, it's an ongoing thing. So that's something that is important, especially I would imagine during the summer, getting ready for the upcoming school.
Absolutely, yes. So that occurs, as I think I mentioned last time. They start them in about March, but the majority of those screenings are done at the Addison Early Learning Center in the summer months to get those families enrolled for the next school year.
And it's for the go through the ASD4 website.
Yes,
for
as
that
well.
Also?
The Addison Early Learning Center.
Addison Early Learning Center.
Link.
Right. Well, what a great conversation we've had today to learn about an important agency and an important operation, part of the Addison community, and that is the Addison Children's Center and their Head Start and Early Head Start programs that they offer here in the community. Their telephone number to reach out to April and her team for any questions you might have or to go through the intake process at the Addison Children's Center, 630-784-4950. And for young families, or you even mentioned grandma, grandpa, whatever, get on board with that and give them a call, 630-784-4950. So our guests today have been April Osuji from the Addison Children's Center. April, thank you very much. We enjoyed talking with you today. And of course, Maureen Reedy, the project director with Apple. So thanks for a great conversation today. We hope our community and our viewers benefited from that. We thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you on our next program. I'm Don Weiss. Thank you for joining us.